Everybody, it's the Mad Master here. I'm doing a quick video about the recent Supreme Court decision about the OSHA mandate and just some thoughts on this. I am extremely elated that this decision was made. Of course, that's going to put me in certain political categories, which I realize that I've already been put in the last 2 years. And I think anybody with common sense can see that it's a good decision for the long run, for the long term of our country and liberty and freedom and medical freedom, or whatever you want to call it. Federalizing that kind of mandate sets a dangerous precedent. It's just, I think that they definitely made the right decision. Now with the medical one, they made a different decision about that. And, I have mixed feelings about that. I think if you talk to a person, now this would be if the jab-a-dab-a-do, I'm going to use code words, really stopped transmission, then maybe it would make sense. But since it doesn't make as much sense. Now, I don't know how much the Supreme Court were informed about these things. I know that Clarence Thomas especially he was the most hardcore about this, and Barrett actually asked a good question. When does the emergency end? See, that's the whole question. When do we go back to normal? Now, I think it's a sign in the right direction as far as everything. I think everybody's sick of this, and, they want to live their lives. Obviously, it does not, it's not, the transmission is not stopping with the Decepticon variant. So what do we do now? I mean, this is a good day for liberty and freedom. And it strikes to the heart of these people that are trying to push these things, push these agendas. And if you want to, extrapolate that with the other agendas, if you know what I'm talking about, I'm not going to talk about that in this video. Supposed agendas. I'm not saying that they're real or not. Whitney Webb has talked a lot about this. It helps with that too, if you think about it. It's like, okay, we're taking, they're standing against this type of centralization of power. That's one of the things that bothers me about this whole thing. And it's, it's like the medical one, I think they had to, they felt like they had to do something with, it's almost like a virtue signal from the Supreme Court. That's pretty much what it is. Like, oh, well, we're doing this, and obviously I don't know how long this is going to last. That's the thing, as far as, now it makes sense from a certain point of view. If you're in a medical field and you're more risky people, high risk people in a medical situation, on paper, it makes more sense. Obviously, when you go into the details, it makes less sense. At least there is somewhat of a precedent for that, because there are places that require like flu shots for medical workers and stuff like that. There's never been, as far as, at least except for kids, any kind of mandate for businesses, as far as, if you have to stay up to date with your tetanus shot if you're going to remain in this job, or something like that. So that's why this was so odious, is because unconstitutional and unprecedented kind of mandates that they were trying to push into our society. And obviously, I could even see, like I said before, a testing mandate across the board, as long as the government pays for the tests, of course. And as long as they use these rapid tests, the rapid strip tests that Michael Mina was talking about, I think that was a great idea. I think they should just implement that across the board. Obviously, the Action Jackson nations, I'm using a more code words, because that's actually Matt McKinley, this guy that I watch, uses that as attending the Action Jackson movie, is in the jabba-dabba-doo, the shot, whatever you want to call it. Obviously, that does not stop the spread. So testing makes more sense, even if testing is imperfect, and obviously it is. I know firsthand how testing for viruses is imperfect as far as another situation that I was in. I'm not going to talk about that in this video, but it's a really scary moment that has been averted for at least in part. I'm gonna give them credit. I'm gonna say that while it's not perfect, this whole decision with the federal, stuff or the medical one, it's a step in the right direction. Because I was freaked out like they were not gonna overturn it. And I was scared because I'm not gonna get a booster every 3 months for something that's becoming endemic. I'm not gonna do that. I don't want to remain, I don't want to keep my, to keep my job, have to do that every 3 months, or have to do that kind of thing. And that's one thing that I really hated about this. It's like this nebulous nature of these mandates and stuff. It's like, well, why are they doing vaccine? I said it. Why are they doing vaccine passports, at restaurants and stuff, if it does not stop the spread eagle, spread eagle, if it doesn't do that, I have to throw in a couple words for the algorithms. I think put in as many words like Decepticon and Transformers and, which I love Transformers, by the way, but I'm still going to buy Scorponok. That's the last one I'm going to buy, the new Scorponok. Anyways, that's off subject. I have a bunch of Transformers in my closets and stuff. And, one day I want to have a mansion that, I could play with the Transformers. I'm such a dork. Anyways, that's one thing. So the mandate, this is great news. This week has been full of good news for me anyways, for various reasons. But this is like, this is the best news I've heard all day. And it's a part of it's selfish, I'll admit. But it's also a blow against the empire, so to speak, blows against the empire. Because it's like, well, they're not going to tell us, they're not going to do this unprecedented move on our society, trying to force us to do this. And, obviously a lot of places won't be able to do the testing as on the level that they wanted them to do anyway. So a lot of places, people would probably have gotten eliminated from jobs. And it's just some of this is so ridiculous. And it's like, I think one of it's the permanency of it. It's like, okay, OSHA rules are there for a reason, like hard hats and all that shit. But this thing's like 5 years from now, maybe the coof will not be as deadly. So are you going to force people to get their 20th booster shot at that point? Or else they have to get a new job or get tested every day and wear a mask? Even though it's like maybe, at that point, even more mild than it is with the new variant. Like even 5 times more, like not even the flu at the flu level every year. Are you going to force people to do that shit every fucking year? I mean, that's the $1 million question, the nebulousness. Like Barrett asked, when does the emergency end? Or when, Clarence Thomas said certain things and said, all these judges, and I'm a fucking liberal, okay? I'm a leftist, all right? Basically, I voted for Bernie Sanders twice, I believe in I love Scandinavia, not only the music, of course, I'm obsessed with the music, but, I like some of their governmental and social ideas and policies and stuff. So it's like, I'm not sitting here coming from that, like, oh my God, but the Constitution and this unconstitutionality of the whole thing and everything like that. But it's for selfish reasons. I'll admit it. It's selfish, but it's also because when are we going to go back to like just people realizing, okay, people get sick. I mean, Alyssa Milano came out and compared to the shot to a seatbelt. One of the first rational things I've heard her say, and I don't give a fuck about Alyssa Milano, but just saying, people have been coming out and actually saying some rational stuff the last few weeks. And it's like, when are we going to get back to a normalcy in our society? Probably never, if you want to go into the occult and astrology. Apparently we're in some kind of new age or whatever of what is it called? I can't remember what it's called, but the alignment of the planets are all in the air signs now or whatever, it's like, I'm still reading about astrology. It's an interest of mine, but it's like, if you believe in that shit, we're in the Byzantine period of America, the American Empire, whatever you want to call it, but it's like, and actually the irony is about the astrological thing is we're in a decentralized period of time, supposedly. So a lot of decentralization is happening, which is ironic because there's been so much centralization in the last few years of power and money, but big tech, etc. So yeah, I'm very happy. But anyways, back to the subject at hand. I'm very happy about the mandate being not rescinded, but destroyed, you know, the OSHA mandate, because, you know, it's like never before has this happened as far as that goes. Obviously, even, you know, even back when Spanish flu happened, they didn't all of a sudden have a mandate for, you know, people after that pandemic ended. They didn't start saying, oh, you have to get a flu shot. You know, 100 years later, you know, people die from the flu, but it's like, it's the precedent that matters. It's the precedent. It's the concept. It's the principle. And a lot of coronitarians on Twitter are freaking out right now. Oh my God, what such far right fascists? Oh my God. It's like, well, you don't have to fucking run a business. You don't have to, you know, you're not like the arbiter of society of what people, overall, it's like, it's so invasive. It's like the abortion debate. It's this invasive thing and nebulous circumstances at times. Like, is a baby, like, for example, like with abortion, is a fetus a real, you know, a living human being, a life, blah, blah, blah. It's like these weird ethical questions with that. Same with these mandates. It's like, well, are you spreading, you know, well, obviously the spread is not being stopped by these things. So what is the point? It's like smoking. Oh, I smoke, I'm at risk of death. You know, a certain percentage, you know, and even there, you're risking others probably more or no less than, or probably less than if you know, don't, you know, it's like if you don't, I'm trying to make it, I'm lost, never mind, forget it. But I'm just saying smoking is a risk to yourself, not others. But it is a risk because secondhand smoke, but it's like, it's this nebulous thing. It's like, well, I mean, secondhand smoke is probably a bigger risk in certain situations than spreading the virus around. But even if it's like if you don't smoke, but you still, if it's like you still carry smoke around. What if you didn't smoke, but you carry the smoke? Anyways, it's getting really weird. But the nebulousness of these ideas, the ethical questions, and that is attacked, that is dead today because of the Supreme Court, because of the Trump and George H.W. Bush Supreme Court. We can say at this point, we're on this precipice of this change in our society with regards to this fucking disaster that's been happening for 2 years now. We're turning the tide as far as what's happening. And a lot of bad shit is happening, don't get me wrong. You know, a lot of people don't like, I mean, the medical mandate is questionable. And, you know, Minneapolis has a mandate for businesses and stuff, like for people to have the passport, they have to use a passport to enter a restaurant, all this fucking bullshit. There's a lot of they're clamping down everywhere. But this is a big, along with the new variant, this has been a big turning point in my opinion. So we might be over this I don't know if we'll ever be over this, but, you know, we might be over some of the more nefarious questions that, at least in the United States, as far as this goes, because it's like, it's a big strike against the Karens of the Corona Karens. I'll just say that. This is like, oh no. I know they're all crying, and, you know, in their double N95 masks in their basement, you know, washing their hands obsessively and doing all their shit. But this is a big point. This is a big moment that this tide is turning, and in my opinion, it's turning, because this is the big deal. This is the big decision. Of course, partially it's questionable. I'm not gonna lie. You know, that the medical thing, you know, it might influence some things. I don't know if it's a testing one included too. A lot of people are like, oh, the testing thing's fine. Well, yeah, but I think they can there's a lot of loopholes in that objective stance, because you could say, well, we can't afford to test people every week, blah, blah, blah. They'll have to out of pocket. And then, you know, what if they don't get the testing done? And, you know, it's just like, and then they'll find another, okay, so like a lot of times businesses will find another excuse to get someone fired. Yeah, we don't want to do it, you know, we can't afford that. We'll just fire these people, you know, and they won't even know why they got fired, or they'll find some minuscule excuses. So this enables people to say, fuck it. in businesses too, it's like they don't have to do this. I had to give my card to my job and was like, oh my God, this is so stupid. And I was mad, but this is a good moment though. This is a good moment. This is a victory. It's not a full victory, but it's a victory against this whole thing. Whatever, you know, if you believe there's an agenda here, this is a victory against it. And I'm very happy today that I don't have to, you know, worry that, you know, a couple months I'll have to get like, every couple months I'll have to get boosters, you know, just to keep a job or get tested. It's like that ridiculous idea that I have to like stay up to date with this stuff when I've probably already had it for one, and I've already had the Action Jackson movie. I've already seen it, you know. It was only the one time Big Johnson won, but I mean, it's like, what are you going to do? I mean, I look at my, you know, I don't have a watch, but I'm just like, I'm just pretending, but it's like 2 years now. I mean, you know, it's like, keep going on and on with this stuff. It's just so ridiculous. So yeah, I think it was a good decision, and I think it will influence a lot of things. Like, it will set a precedent that we cannot, at least in part, we cannot just keep, you know, destroying our society over this thing and try to come with some rational decisions about this, because it's like unprecedented kind of ideas that we're having here. What constitutes an emergency? I don't think the 9/11 emergency ever ended, you know? It's like, what constitutes an emergency? When does it end? Oh, when there's cases are 10,000 or less. No, that's not true. There'll be, you know, there will be people that will call for, you know, if there's 2 cases in a county that, oh, we locked down. There's people that are that crazy, that are that nuts. Like, let's close down for 5 years. I'm sure there's people that say, oh, let's lock down for 5 years until the whole world is jabbed. It's like, you're not going to do that, first of all, unless you have strict authoritarianism, you know. And I don't believe that this warrants, I'm sorry, that this does not warrant the type of authoritarianism that we've experienced so far. This is a controversial opinion, but I do not believe this warrants the type of authoritarianism. That's what I say. But this is a strike against that. This is a knife in the heart of the evil, nefarious people that are pushing at least some of this, or profiting from it, you know. And maybe it's not. Maybe it's just, you know, maybe it's just common sense and people just gloss their minds. I don't know. Maybe people are just incompetent. I don't know. I can't say, you know, what the conspiracy, if there's a conspiracy behind all that, but it's also a strike against the conspiracy, because like, I'm sure, you know, I've read some stuff on Twitter. They're not going to vote against it. Oh, it's, they probably have stuff on there. Oh, they're blackmailing them. Good. The New World Order is blackmailing the judges. They're not going to vote against the mandate. Oh my God. Oh, we'll all be in FEMA camps in a month. Oh, you know, it's just like, I mean, if that would be true, then wouldn't they have voted for the mandate? I mean, if they were blackmailing them about it or something, you know, but they didn't. And it just continues to go on. The business, you know, of course, a lot of the liberals will be like, oh, the businesses will care more about their business than people's lives. You know, we should just lock down forever. Remote learning forever. Masks forever. Boosters forever. And new jabs when they're developed. Just live your life in remote slavery. Sure, go ahead. I'm gonna live my fucking life, and now I have more of a precedent to do so. That's about all.